think I'm a few minutes late. I don't know, folks. We'll see who joins us today. I think we might have some people watching. We'll wait for you guys to pop up. Hello, everyone. I was a couple minutes late there because we were doing stuff in the backyard that was loud. And then I forgot that I didn't even have Facebook on my phone, so I had to download it. So thanks for your patience, everybody. Hi, Candace. My dad is telling me I'm late. That's pretty bad. I think a couple people joined late, so I'm not going to beat myself up on that one. Awesome. So I see my aunt saying hi and Kristen. That's awesome, guys. So thanks for joining. Thanks for waiting. Today we're making dinner again. So a couple weeks ago I made dessert for dinner, which is probably not very healthy. So today we're doing something a little healthier. So what we're making today is balsamic millet tofu salad. So a lot going on there. So if you haven't heard of millet, it is a grain and it's pretty cool. It's something else to try other than rice or quinoa is really popular. So millet is another grain. And I'm going to show you guys, it looks really cool when it's growing. So it's kind of like from a grass type of plant, and then the millet comes off the little conies that are there. So it's a nice alternative. If you cook it a little bit longer, it can actually get sort of like a mashed potato consistency. Or you can, if you cook it a little bit less, it'll be kind of fluffy like rice. So I'll show you guys what it looks like after it's been cooked. So you can see it here. You can see the little grains. So it's pretty good for, you can use it in place of mashed potatoes or rice. So it's something neat to try. You should give it a go. I get mine at Bulk Barn, and I cook it 1 cup of water, and you toast the millet a little bit first in some oil, just to give it some flavor, and then you put it in the cold water, bring it up to a boil, and then let it go for 20 minutes, and then you give it a 5-minute steam with the lid still on. And the only reason I know that is because of a cookbook called Oh She Glows, or a cookbook author I should say, and in the back of her cookbook she always has a cooking guide, so I use that a lot. So this is our balsamic tofu millet salad. So what I have is a block of extra firm tofu, and for this recipe I don't normally do it, but for this recipe I would press the tofu because you'll get all the water out and then the marinade will soak in better. So like I said, tofu's fine, it'll absorb flavor, you don't have to press it, but if you are going to marinate it and you want the marinade to like stick into the tofu really well, just press all the water out of it. So then what I did was I put some olive oil and balsamic vinegar, and I put some dried basil and black pepper. And I did that about, I'm going to say like an hour and a half ago, but if you do it the day before and let it sit overnight, that's awesome. And then just make sure you mix it so that the marinade goes all over it. So you want them in kind of small bite-sized pieces, even smaller than that would be better. So that is the first prep. And then the next thing, I'm going to start my oven here. And I'll move you guys down so you don't have to just watch me talk. So here we've got all our ingredients. So I'm going to turn my pan on like just above medium. So we've got our marinated tofu. I've got about 4 small cloves of garlic. And then I have some kale chopped up really small, some red onion and red pepper. So this is my flavor preference, but you can use whatever you want and just make it a rainbow. If you want to use different colored pepper, different onions, different greens, that's fine. You can use spinach, but we're going for like an Italian kind of flavor, so think about that when you're picking out your veggies. And then I would normally put fresh basil on it, but I don't have any fresh basil right now, so we've just done the dry, and then I would put fresh basil in with it, so I'll mention that later. And then we have our cooked millet. So I'm going to let this get heated up. I'm going to turn it up a bit more. And if you, to marinate the tofu, I did use oil, but if you're trying to be oil free or you just want to reduce the oil, if you did the balsamic vinegar with maybe some Dijon mustard and water to thin it out, that would be a good marinade without having to use oil. But I don't eat a lot of oil, so for this recipe I used the olive oil. So we're just going to throw that in. So you can throw it all in with the marinade, and again, tofu you can eat raw, so we're just kind of heating it up. And what I do, doesn't matter, but what I do is leave a little bit of the oil in, and then I'll put that in a bit later with the rest. So we'll push that aside. I think you guys can see me. And I just throw all the veggies right in. I'm going to turn that up. I'm turning my heat up high because I have it on a really small element in a big pan. But you would want to just like take the time and cook it maybe on medium or medium high. So this salad is good to eat alone. And when I first make it, I actually eat it like warm. So I'll get everything warm. We're going to put everything together with the sauce and eat it warm. But then the next day when it's cold, again, you can have it, like a lot of the salads I make, you can have it on a bed of fresh lettuce with some other veggies. You can have it in a wrap. So it's really versatile, and I like making recipes like that where you can have a whole bunch and then eat it like in different ways throughout the week, and then you're not having to cook every night. But I cook every night anyway. So basically we're getting this warmed up to the point where it's just warm enough to eat. So I can hear it sizzling already. So we'll get our camera back down here. Awesome. So this is the part of the cooking shows where stuff is just cooking. So I would love to hear from you guys because I can actually watch the comments now. Has anyone out there ever tried millet? Not when I cooked it for you. If anyone's on here that's been to one of my potlucks or over for dinner, that doesn't count. So anyone tried millet or any other grains that you would recommend? I know a lot of people eat quinoa, a lot of people eat brown rice, pasta, that sort of thing. So what other grains are people eating? Any good recommendations? Diane's saying no. She hasn't eaten it before. Anyone else out there? I think there's a delay in the chats. Don't leave me hanging. So I see some new people. I see the number going up there. So we're making balsamic tofu millet salad, and we've got some marinated tofu in here with olive oil and balsamic marinade. We've got red onions, red pepper, and kale. So some people have tried it. Oh, I have, so a viewer named Kara is saying that she uses dry millet to coat tofu and make it crispy, I assume for frying it. That would be awesome. And Tej is saying that she has tried bulgur. So bulgur wheat is really good. I think I've had that before. And I also have a bag of barley. So I've made like barley risotto and barley and soups. That's a really good one. I really like that idea of the millet to make tofu crispy. That's a good one. And you can also, so that's a really awesome idea as well. If you cook the millet or you cook the quinoa, you can use that with some oatmeal and make granola bars. Very good suggestions, guys. My friend is asking me if I always look this good. So that question, Jess, is a huge filter on my phone. That's why I look so good. I've got a suggestion that barley is good for soups and stews. Yep. Awesome. Awesome suggestions, guys. So you can hear this going. So you're not looking to cook the vegetables all the way down. You're just wanting to soften them up a bit because the red onion does have a sharp flavor. And you want it to be soft, but you don't want it to be squishy because when you keep it in the fridge for later, it'll be all soggy and weird. So I think I'm at the point where I can tell everything is cooked through, and I do have this on a bit of high heat. So what I do now is we're going to put the millet right in. So when you put the millet in, I like to wait and let it cool down because you can actually crumble it a bit. When I first took this out of the pot, it was closer to mashed potatoes. So I do like to let it cool down before I put it back in, but it doesn't matter too much. So we're going to put that in. And we're going to put our garlic in too because we didn't want it to burn before. So we're just putting garlic in. And I see Joyce has joined us here. So we're making balsamic tofu millet salad. We've got marinated tofu, red pepper, red onion, and kale. And then we have cooked millet in there. Now I'm putting in the garlic. So I'll make sure to stir that really well because the garlic looks the same as the millet. It smells fantastic though. And if you had fresh basil, now would be the time to add the fresh basil. So again, you just want to make sure that it gets heated through a little bit. You don't have to eat this warm, so don't worry too much. And then this is where I take the little bit of oil that I still have in the marinade. And you can sprinkle that in. You can put a little bit more in. I actually have a lot in here, so I'm going to put a little bit more oil. Like that. And I love balsamic vinegar. If you're not like super fond of balsamic vinegar, don't put any more in. You could also use white balsamic vinegar, would be great. But we just want to give a little bit of moisture to the millet. So just a tiny bit. But the smell is, I love that Italian flavors. Okay. We are looking good. So I'm going to serve this, I'm going to reuse this bowl. So, there we go. And I probably got it everywhere, sorry guys. And then, so it comes out looking kind of like this. So you can see how like the millet, a big bowl like this would be quite filling for a meal. And then what I like to do is put a little bit of fresh tomato on top and some cucumber. You don't want to leave the tomato in it. You just want to put it on top because you don't want it to get soggy. So that, and then if you can imagine chopping up some fresh basil on top and really bunch of black pepper. Actually, I'm going to put black pepper for my taste test. I think my aunt was calling out Frank to come and taste test, but he's outside. He can eat it later. So, to recap on our recipe, we've got cooked millet, and I did 1 cup uncooked with 2 cups of water. And then we've got marinated tofu that was marinated in olive oil and balsamic and dried basil. Then we had red onions, red peppers, and kale, or any other greens if you want to put spinach or anything like that in. And then cook it all together until it's warmed through and the onions are soft. And then add your fresh veggies. But seriously, huge tip, put fresh basil in this. You will not regret it. I love fresh basil. The basil I have been growing is not ready yet. So here we go. Let's see. It's really good. That millet is like such a different flavor from rice or quinoa. Like I can't describe it. It's really, really like hearty and delicious. And then we have our tofu there. Awesome. So good. So, oh my gosh, my dad is talking about Vegemite. Don't listen to Mark talk about Vegemite. Thanks very much for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. Another really quick recipe for you. I love doing these cooking shows just to show people how easy it is to eat delicious vegan food all the time. And again, I remind everyone every time, please go to my YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll post this video on YouTube later with the recipe below so you can catch it there. And I told everybody last week, and I've been too lazy to post it, but I actually hit over 1,000 followers on my Instagram and Facebook page, so I'm going to have a giveaway contest. So I'm going to post that either tonight or tomorrow. So make sure that you check that out and share my channel, subscribe to it, do the notification thingy, and make this delicious salad. I hope you guys are having a good day. We got some sun here today in Ontario, and I hope you did too. Thank you very much. I gotta eat this. It's so good. I'll just keep eating till you all log off. Have a good night, guys. Check out my contest when I post it. Bye.